God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth.
Our discourse today is upon God's being a spirit. That is John 4:24. John 4:24, which says, God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. That is what we are going to see, so that we may understand how God is a spirit. There is no way we can worship God truly if we don't understand the nature of God. That's why we have so many people doing things that we cannot understand, or they don't understand, or they create their own way of worship. The reason why they do so is because they don't understand the nature of God. Because when you understand the nature of God, truly you are going to worship him as God. And since God is a spirit, then if you know that, you are going to worship God spiritually. That's why people, they don't understand the spiritual worship and carnal worship. What is it to worship God spiritually? And what is it to worship God carnally? That is, worshiping God using your sensuality. And that one, as we are going to see, you'll see, that's why people are mistaken, and they do a lot of things which are not in line with what God has put as his way of worship. So, the nature of God is a foundation of worship. The will of God is a rule of worship. You get the point? That the nature of God is a foundation of worship. The will of God is the rule of worship. There is that nature of God. That is, God is a spirit. And that nature is a foundation. That nature is a foundation. Of his worship. The nature of God is a foundation of God's worship. And the will of God, as we are going to see, is the rule of his worship. That means, if you cannot understand the nature of God, which is the foundation of his worship, then truly you will never worship God truly. Kama hutajua the nature of God, na that nature is a foundation of his worship, then there is no one time you will worship God truly. Ya pili, if you are not going to know the will of God, what is the will? Yale Mungu amefanya nini? Angetaka ifanye. If you are not going to understand the will of God, then you are not going to follow or to do what God has always wanted you to do as his creature. Because his will is the rule of his worship. His will. That's why unakuta watu wengine wanafanya vituko katika makanisa, wanafanya vile wanafikiria ati hii ndio hii, because they don't know the will of God. And the will of God is a rule. So if they don't know the will of God, then automatically they are not going to worship God in accordance with, with his rule. And that one will be as a result of not knowing the nature of God. That God is a spirit. Sawa? Is the nature of, the nature of the object of worship should be included. The nature of the object of worship should be included. As the object is, so ought our devotion to be. So the object of our worship is God. That is the object of our worship. So, as the object is, that is the way that object should be worshipped. You got it, Clement? So, if God is a spirit, then our worship should be spiritual. If that object is a spirit, our worship must be spiritual. And that's why, because people always mistake God, then that's why their worship will be as what their object is. What they think that their object is, that's the way they are going to do what? To worship. What do you think the object is? That's the way they are going to worship. So that's why you see in the law, he respected the discovery of his mercy and justice, and therefore commanded a worship by sacrifices. That is in the law. Okay, in the law, when you come to the Old Testament, God was worshipped through sacrifices. God was worshipped through sacrifices, as we are going to see. And through these sacrifices, people were to learn about God. Not that the sacrifices themselves were God, no. For those who fail to understand the sacrifices, they worship those sacrifices as if those sacrifices, they meant everything. And you know, wana wa Israeli, they failed. Mpaka Mungu akafika pale akawaambia, mnafikiri mimi kazi yangu ni kukula nyama? Mimi niko na haja na nini? Na nyama hizo mnanitolea pale. Because they never understood why God had set those sacrifices. Instead of seeing God spiritually in those sacrifices, they saw what? The sacrifice as if themselves they are God. God is that sacrifice. So, a spiritual worship without those institutions would not have declared those attributes, which was God's, and to display to the world in Christ. Kwa hivyo, these sacrifices, which the Old Testament used to do, they were supposed to reveal God in Christ. They were supposed to see the mercy of God in his Son, who was to come in this world and be a sacrifice for the sins of the people. But they never saw it that way, because they never understood truly the character of God, or that spiritual part of God. So, the nature of God is to be respected in worship. Yet, the obligation of the creature are to be considered. God is a spirit, therefore must have a spiritual worship. The creature has a body as well as a soul, and both from God. So hapa, as we are going to see, if God is a spirit, and he must be worshipped in spirit, but a creature sasa ni nani? Ni sisi. We being creature, we have a soul and a body. We have a soul and a body. So, how are we going to worship God and yet we have a body? We have a soul, the spiritual part, and the physical part. But as we are going to see, we are going to know how we are supposed to use our body to worship God spiritually. Umeelewana pale? Because Mungu hawezi kutupatia kitu ambaye though is a body is not a spirit, alafu iwe sasa there is no way that body can worship God spiritually. There is. Manake Mungu anajua akisema we should worship God in truth and in spirit. Tukiwa katika mwili gani? This body as we have it here. Kwa hivyo we are going to see how God wants us, the part of the body. Which part the body plays in the worship of God. Na hapo ndio utaona most of the people, because they don't understand the spirituality of God, they neglect the spiritual part of the soul and they side only with the body. Wanawacha, yani the spiritual part wanaweka chini because they don't understand. Alafu unakuta what they are left with is only the body. Na ndio unaona ukienda katika makanisa mengi utakuja kuona watu wanga wanapenda sana kuiba, to swing their body. You see now, because the body is part of man, but without understanding the spiritual part, you take the body only, then you are going to be mistaken, because the body is supposed to follow the spirit. So, unaona pale? What about if your soul is mistaken about that spirituality of God?
The body will be mistaken.
The body will be, itaenda kando. Kwa hivyo utakuwa unafanya vitu zingine ambayo is not spiritual. Kwa hivyo ni kusema you can worship God spiritually both with your soul at the same time with your body, if only you have the right nature of God in your mind. But without that, utafanya vituko zako zingine. So the spirituality of God was the foundation of the change from Judaica carnal worship to a more spiritual and evangelical. That's why after the Old Testament, in the Old Testament, they were doing what we call carnal worship. Manake walikuwa wana worship mambo yote na mwili. Walikuwa wana worship mambo yote. They were doing things using their own eyes, everything, their worship. And that's why when Christ came, we call that way of worship, we call it evangelical worship. That means there was a change of worship in the New Testament. There was a change of worship than what the Jews used to do. And that's why the Jews went wrong. Because they could not understand the spirituality of the New Testament. So they remained with that old worship. Wakatalia pale. Na wakatalia pale. Na wakataa kutoka. Manake they could not see beyond their carnal worship. They could not see. So, what is this nature of God? God is a spirit. God is a spirit. is a spirit. God is a spirit. So, God being a spirit, he has nothing corporeal, no mixture of matter. That is, God is a spirit. He has nothing corporeal. Nikisema corporeal hapo ni kumaanisha there is nothing corporeal kama mwili kama hii ambayo you can see in God. He has nothing corporeal. The word corporeal is this one. Corporeal. Corporeal. He has nothing corporeal. Corporal. It is the word from the word corporal. Corporeal. No mixture of matter. There is no mixture of anything in God. There is no mixture of anything. Not a visible substance, a bodily form. He has no visible substance. He has no bodily form. He is not a bare spiritual substance. He is not bear a spiritual substance. Na hapa ndio ningetaka sana, hata nilikuwa nataka mwalimu kama hapa na kina nani hapa, naonaga hiki kitu nasumbuaga watu sana hapa. Sasa zingine tukisoma mambo about God as a spirit, manake inaonaga watu haielewi. Na ni vibaya sana, nilikuwa nataka hii topic tuisome wote. Lakini sasa kwa sababu hakuna wakati hii klasi itakuwa na watu wote at the same time, let us study it the way it is. He is a spirit, not a bare spiritual substance. As we are going, because when we say God is a spirit, we are going to see the type of spirit. Ndio tuelewe utofauti wa Mungu na other spirits, so that we may understand the difference ya haya mambo. He is a spirit, but not a bare spirit. When we say a bare spirit, what does that mean? We are going to see even a plant has a spirit. Even a tree like this one has a spirit. We are going to see what type of spirit do they have. And when we say God is a spirit and not a bare spirit, nikusema he's a spirit above spirits. Because that plant can have a spirit, as we are going to see. That tree can have a spirit. An animal has a spirit. But it is not comparable to who? To God as a spirit. Why? Because God has what? God has an understanding. He's a spirit, but he has what? Understanding. Does a tree have understanding? No. Does an animal have an understanding? No. God has understanding. That's one thing. God has understanding. And again, he has what? Willing spirit. He has understanding. He has willing in himself. He's not just a bare spirit. He has willing in himself. Ya tatu, he is holy and wise. All these things are in God, though God is a spirit. You name it, he is good and just. So, God is a spirit, but not a bare spirit. He has understanding. He's a willing God. He's a holy God. He's a wise. He is wise. He's good. He's just. Though God has no corporeal body like us, He is a pure spirit. But it's not just a pure spirit like that. It is a spirit that has all these attributes in them and many more. Sasa. So, that's why, since God is a spirit, he should worship in spirit. Why? Because every nature delights in that which is like it. And distasts that which is most different from it. Every nature, its own nature, likes what it is. Kwa hivyo, wakati tunasema God must be worshipped in spirit, that means what God is saying, he must be worshipped in accordance with his what? Nature. Because like attracts like. And since there is no any other good nature that we can have apart from our Creator, that's why what God is, that is the best way of worship. Because he must be worshipped that way. He is he has created himself, he has created us in his own nature. So he would like us to worship him in his own nature because it is he is like that. And for our goodness, it is the best nature that we can we can ever have, because it is the nature of our Creator. That's why he is saying he should be worshipped in spirit. And we have seen it's not just a bare spirit. It is a spirit with an understanding, with a willing, holy, wise, good, and just. All those things, all those are there. So, if God were corporeal, na tumesema corporeal, it is with a shape or with a body like that of an animal. So, if God were corporeal, he might be pleased with the victims of beasts and the beautiful magnificence of temples and the noise of music. But being a spirit, he cannot be gratified with carnal things. Kama Mungu angekuwa na sisi kama mwili kama hii yetu, angefurahia kuabudiwa na mambo ambayo inaonekana kama temple, kujenga beautiful temples, music. Sio kama tunaelewana? Music ambayo watu wanafikiria ati when you play big music ati Mungu anafurahia. No. Kama angekuwa binadamu kama sisi, with a body, with the sense kama sisi, angefurahia vitu kama hizo. Angefurahia nyumba ambayo zimejengwa na ni safi sana. But God is a spirit. Atafurahia, anaishi wapi? Anaishi kwa nyumba. So, you cannot please God with any carnal worship. Na ile carnal worship ambayo ilifurahisha Mungu, it was only that one which he had appointed in the Old Testament. Only that. Hiyo ndio ilifurahisha Mungu wakati huu. Manake, it was his appointment and it was the way of teaching us how to approach to him. Kwa hivyo, he had a stamp on that worship. But it was carnal, but God had a stamp on that worship because it was the way of teaching. But in the New Testament, it is different. God cannot be worshipped carnally. Na mambo ya mwili ambayo inaonekana. Ambaye inaonekana. And you don't know what people are mistaken. Watu wanafikiri kanisa ni kuweka maspika makubwa. Wanacheza music. Unaona? Wanafikiri hiyo ndio kuabudu Mungu. No. God should be worshipped in spirit. Tutaona as we go on. So God made something better and greater than all those music. That soul which he made, that soul which has endowed a spirit of frame suitable to his nature. Kwa hivyo God wants something suitable. Suitable in which way? He wants to be worshipped with a soul which he has made. A soul which he has made, and he has put his spirit in that soul. In that soul. Kwa hivyo Mungu, wakati wewe unaabudu, wakati unaabudu na mwili, unafanya hayo, and you are neglecting the spirit in your soul. And God is after that spirit which is in the soul, because he himself is a spirit. Tunaona hapo? Kwa hivyo yeye, haja ya Mungu, God is pleased when we worship him in spirit. That means that's understanding. Because God is understanding. He is not just a bare spirit like that of an animal. And that's why we are made, we are created with the image of God. So he wants a worship with what? Understanding. Because God also is understanding. Lakini wakati watu wanaenda kufanya vituko zao without understanding, that is kind of worship. You are not worshiping God because you don't understand God, who is God. Sasa, all those things lazima tufanye nini? So, when you come to the New Testament, that's why the New Testament is called the time of reformation. Ukisoma Hebrew 11, so 9:10, Hebrew 9:10, utaona. Hebrew 9:10.
Inasema, kwa kuwa ni sheria za jinsi ya mwili tu, vyakula na vinywaji, na kutawadha kwingine zilizoamriwa hata wakati wa matengenezo mapya.
Kiingereza?
Which stood only in meats and drinks, and diverse washings, and carnal ordinances, imposed on them until the time of Reformation.
So they were imposed on them until when? So Christ coming in this world was a time of reformation, to reform that kind of worship to a spiritual worship. They were reserved, they were imposed on them at that time. But when Christ came, it was a reformation to reform the church. Mungu tunasikia nasema hizo vitu zote zikawekwa wapi? Zikawekwa kando. So the worship of God became spiritual. You see now, he indeed appointed sacrifices and a temple as shadows of those things which were to be most acceptable to him in the Messiah. But they were imposed only till the time of Reformation. So Christ's coming was a time of Reformation. So must worship him. Unasikia? Must worship him. Ukisema katika hii anasema they must worship, must. It is not may. Ni lazima. Kwa hivyo to worship God is a must. And this must be in what? In spirit and in truth. So it's a must. Sio hapo hakuna mambo ya kubembeleza, hapana. As we said earlier, this spiritual worship, it is not exclusive of bodily worship. For these were to exclude all public worship in societies, which cannot be performed without differential posture of the body. Kwa hivyo, sio kusema this spiritual worship, you exclude what? The body. Otherwise, there is no way we can go to public worship kama vile tumekuja hapa. Situko na mimi. So, you cannot exclude mwili katika spiritual worship. Kwa sababu hiyo mwili ndio inafanya nini? Ndio inabeba the soul. The soul. So, the gestures of the body are helps to worship and declarations of spiritual acts. Kwa hivyo kumaanisha nini? The gestures of the body. So wakati unasema tuombe, unafanya nini? Unainamisha kichwa. Si ni kweli? So that gesture, it is part of what? Worship. Kwa hivyo, the gesture of the body must go in accordance with the spiritual rules of God worship. Kwa hivyo, hakuna vile unaweza kusema tufunge macho, tuombe. That one action itaonyesha kwa nini? Kwa mwili. Mwili ndio itafunga macho, si ni kweli? So you must do that action. Hakuna vile unaweza kusema any act ambaye hata mimi kusimama hapa kufundisha and bring spiritual worship. Si ni kweli? Using my body. So whenever a body is used in accordance with the will of God, that is called spiritual worship. You are worshiping God spiritually, even with your body. That body of yours become part of that spiritual worship. Kwa hivyo Mungu hapa haja exclude the body. Tufikiria wakati Mungu anasema we should worship in truth and what? And spirit. Tufikirie sasa the body is left out. No. Because the body is part of your body. But tumesema they must go together. For it to be spiritual worship, the soul must worship with understanding, so that whatever you do with your body, in accordance with that spiritual understanding of your soul, that body of yours, whatever it does, that one is spiritual worship. That's inakubalika kwa mbele ya Mwenyezi Mungu. Sawa?
Ukiwa hapo teacher. Psalm 150 or 150.
Psalms?
Yeah, inaongea kuhusu to worship God. According to my understanding.
Psalms 150. Hebu isome na nguvu. Yule amefika pale.
Msifuni Mungu katika patakatifu pake, msifuni katika anga la uweza wake, msifuni kwa matendo yake makuu, msifuni kwa kadiri ya wingi wa ukuu wake, msifuni kwa mvumo wa baragumu, msifuni kwa kinanda na kinubi, msifuni kwa matari na kucheza, msifuni kwa zeze na vilimbi, msifuni kwa matoazi yaliayo, msifuni kwa matoazi yavumayo sana. Kila mwenye pumzi na amsifu Bwana. Haleluya.
Sasa kitu nitauliza, ni kama ukisikia especially reformers, hata wale those people from Rwanda, wale ambao tulikuwa na hiyo mkutano hapo Kairo, wamezungumza sana. Unaona Kongo is especially kuna hiyo vitu
ya kuimbia Mungu.
Ya Mungu. Tunaruka, tunajita chini, hata tunatoka nje tunakimbia. Wakasema hiyo yote ni ya mwili, haitoki kwa Mungu. Na mimi naelewa kabisa. Kuna ingine njia ya praise and worship truly according
to the will of God.
To the will of God.
Yes. You know, hiyo mambo hata tulisoma hapa na nikamwambia why when the reformers, when you are reforming the church of God, you exclude music kwanza. Not that music ni mbaya, but the notion people have, kama vile niliwaambia, they don't know the nature of God. God is a spirit. And he must be worshipped in spirit and truth. Unasikia hapo ameongeza nini? Truth. Most of the people, they are ignorant about the truth. People will go very fast from a church. This is a church of God. People will go, they buy big piano, big music, they put there. They just want to hear somebody who can produce what? Good tunes. A tune, just a tune, a good tune, anybody, saa hii ukisikia wimbo yoyote, hata kana kwamba inatoa nini, a guitar, anybody plays a guitar somewhere, utasikia mwili always nataka kufanya nini? Inasikia vizuri. Si ni kweli? It can even start swaying. It doesn't matter, yani, so long as what? Is a guitar inafanya nini? So people think that whenever you play a piano or something and you feel good, because you are feeling good, you, not God, none will feel good. It is you. People tend to think, because you are enjoying that music, that blaze of good music, you think now you are with who? With God. That is for you. Unafurahisha mwili yako. Na Mungu hajakataza, ni sawa, because God has created everything. Yani, they are creature created for man to make himself happy. Make yourself happy. But when you come to worship God, this music, if you are going to do it without understanding, tunaelewana? Kama utaifanya hii guitar without understanding, if the happiness you are getting is starting from that guitar and ending from that guitar, the sound of that guitar, and not understanding God, it is evil. Tunaona? Yeah? It is evil. Because it has nothing to do with God. It is starting with you and ending with who? With you. So God, what he's saying here, you have to understand that God is a spirit. You have to worship in spirit. That is in spirit, the spirit of God. And as you have seen, God is not just a bare spirit. Kama vile hapa tunasema, it's not just a bare spirit like an animal spirit. No. He's a God with understanding, with a willing. He is holy, he is wise, he is good, and he is just. So, but utakuja kuona watu wengi wenye wanacheza muziki makanisa, utakuja kuona watu wengi, they are not just, they are not holy, they are not whatever. So, when you put music, wote wanaanza kufanya nini? Kucheza. Nini inawafanya wafurahie? Ni Mungu? No. That's why in Reformation, those people who understand the word of God, completely they don't want music. Because if you want to teach people the word of God, if you put music here, you confuse them. You are confused. You are not teaching the word of God. Because wote, kuna watu watakuwa wanakaa, yeye anataka tu piano ifanye nini? Iwekwe. Ako haja na piano. The word of God is, hata unakuta haichezwi. Ukitaka kujua, angalia these churches nyingi sana hapa nje. Wanaweza enda pahali usikie ile kitu inawekwa pale peke yake, hata kanisa unakuta hakuna watu, maspika ndio yanawekwa inapiga muziki. Kila watu wanasikia nini? Music inakusaidia nini? Na ukisikia hiyo gitaa, ni gitaa peke yake imepigwa na drums, imepigwa vizuri sana. Na ndio ina attract watu. Ni Mungu. Lakini kwa sababu imewekwa pahali na inaitwa kanisa, watu wanasema ni Mungu anafanya nini? Anaibiwa. So those are the things ambaye tunatakiwa kuelewa. Clement, you must worship with understanding. Failure to do that, you are not worshiping God. Sawa? So the gestures of the body are helps to worship and declarations of spiritual facts. Nasikia? The gesture, they are help to worship and declaration of spiritual fact. Kama wewe, do you know kuna watu wanga wanalia kwa kanisa kwa sababu ya muziki peke yake, inampeleka mpaka anaanza kufikiria mambo mengine, anafikiria ni kana kwamba anaona Mungu. Do you know that? Music peke yake.
Yeah.
Are they spiritual effect of God? No. Those are animal spirits zako ambaye zinaamuka mpaka unaanza kusikia vizuri, mpaka ukianza kufikiria mambo mengine, you start imagining things, mpaka unakuta mtu analia kama mtoto, unaona kana kwamba ati Mungu ameona Mungu, na hakuna, it's nothing. Na ukitaka kujua, kuna watu siku hizi wanakamua ng'ombe ndio itoe maziwa, wanaweka nini? Music. Hiyo ni ng'ombe inasikia muziki. Niliona hata mwingine anawekea kuku, ati zikisikia music zinafanya nini? Zinataka mayai. What does that teach you? That music, it is only to serve the animal spirit, but not that. It is not spiritual. It is to serve animal spirit, but not serve who? God. Kama ng'ombe inaweza kusikia vizuri muziki ikichezwa nungu, na kuku itage mayai kwa sababu ya muziki, hiyo inamaanisha nini? We are just like those animals. Without the Spirit of God, we are created with an image of animals. We are just like animals. Hakuna kitu tuko tofauti. We have that spiritual, that animal spirit. So we can scarcely worship God with our spirit without some tincture upon the outward man. Ni ngumu sana yet worship God in spirit without a tincture. Ni kusema ati wewe unakaa ati hakuna nini. No. There is that body movement, but lazima iambatane na nini? Na the spirit. Na this spirit, it must be the spirit of understanding. Who is God? But kama itakuwa ni yako ya kuunderstand kulingana na mambo yako, hakuna kitu hapana. Sawa. So, when we say in spirit and truth, the old patriarchs did worship God in spirit and truth as taken for sincerity. Such worship was always and is perpetually due to God because he always was and eternally will be a spirit. Nataka kusema nini? The old patriarch in the Old Testament, all the patriarchs, and tukisema the patriarch tunamaanisha kina nani? Kina Ibrahimu, kina Noah, watu wote ambao walisimama na Mungu, ambao walikuwa ni watoto wa Mungu. Job, wote waliabudu Mungu in spirit and in truth. Wote. Even in the Old Testament, when you come from the time of Moses, even though there were sacrifices, most of the children of God and by the elect of God, wote waliabudu Mungu in spirit and in truth. Even all those sacrifices ambayo zilikuwa zinaendelea, they could see through those sacrifices that spiritual part, the substance of those things. Walikuwa wanaona. But when you come to carnal people, wale watu wako ignorant, most of them died without knowing even why kondoo ilikuwa inachinjwa pale. Many never understood. That's why utakuja kuona even today, if you go to our traditions, there are many who are saying that we should go back to our traditions, what we used to do. Ndio tulikuwa tunachinja na tulikuwa tunafanya mambo, but zimepitwa na wakati, because there was something in them that God wanted to teach even the heathens. And by that time, si tulikuwa nani? We were heathens. Si ni kweli? So, sio kumaanisha sasa kwa sababu hiyo tulikuwa tunafanya and through them God was blessing us, we should go back and do them. Hakuna. Because by that time Mungu alikuwa anafanya kazi na hizo, lakini wakati mambo ilibadilika, the time of reformation came, then everything's changed. So if you read Isaiah 58 verse 7, Busoma.
Nasema, je, sio kuwagawia wenye njaa chakula chako na kuwaleta maskini waliotupwa nje nyumbani kwako? Umwonapo mtu aliye uchi, umvike nguo, wala usijifiche na mtu mwenye damu moja nawe.
You see now, the prophet at that time, they had the Spirit of God. The prophet had always rebuked them for resting upon their outward solemnities. Unaona? So wengi walikuwa wanasimama katika yale mambo walikuwa wanafanya wakati huo, wanafikiri hapo ndio mwisho. But the prophet who had the Spirit of God, they rebuked them. Truly, hii ni dhambi. Sio hivyo. So though wengi hawakuwa wanaelewa, lakini the people of God ambaye walikuwa wakati huo, they were worshiping God in spirit and in truth. Ukisoma Mika 6:8, hebu soma.
Nasema, mwanadamu, yeye amekuonyesha yaliyo mema, na Bwana anataka nini kwako? Ila kutenda haki na kupenda rehema na kwenda kwa unyenyekevu na Mungu wako.
That is it. You see now, Mika is teaching spiritual truth. He is teaching the truth. Even kumaanisha hata kana kwamba walikuwa wanafanya mambo carnal ordinances and sacrifices, but the Spirit of God is speaking through the people of God. So the Old Testament, wale walikuwako wakati huo ambao walikuwa watoto wa Mungu, they had that Spirit of God. Na ndio nasikia anawaambia, wewe binadamu, which is the right way for you? Ni kufanya mema. So tusifikiria tu wale walikuwa wanafanya hivyo, that there was no that worship of spirit and in truth. The prophets, the patriarch, they worshiped God in spirit and truth. Sawa. So, even though they did that, but when we come to the New Testament, ambayo ndio tunaita the evangelical state, is far much better, or it is elevated spiritually than all what they used to do at that time. Because such a worship God must have, whereby he is acknowledged to be the true sanctifier and quickener of the soul. You see now, in the Old Testament, nimewambia, very few people could understand some of these ordinances, what their purpose or what actually they meant. But when you come to the New Testament, God is pleased. He is pleased to be worshipped by those people who can understand him. Kama sisi tunajua Mungu ako hivi. Mungu anafurahia sana when you worship with understanding. That's the happiness of God. So, the nearer God does approach to us, and the more full his manifestations are, the more spiritual is the worship we return to God. Narudia. The nearer God does approach to us, and the more full his manifestations are, the more spiritual is the worship we return to God. Wakati Mungu anatukaribia karibu sana, spiritually. Anakuja anaingia ndani yetu, anatufungua macho, tunaanza kumuona na kumuelewa. The more he manifests himself to us, na hivyo ndio tunamkaribia sana na tunamjua sana. Kwa hivyo we know God more in spirit than in our understanding na macho yetu ama kumuona na macho yetu, because nobody will see God na macho ya mwili. Nobody will feel God vile watu wanafikiria. Na ndio naona watu wengi wakitaka kuoneshana watu wanamsikia Mungu ama they are feeling God, wanafanyanga vituko tu kufanya hivi, unaona kana kwamba anafanya nini? He is feeling God. Hiyo yote is a lie. Yaani wewe angalia musician wakati wanacheza, wanaendaka pahali anafanya mikono hivi kana kwamba he is feeling God. Anafikiri that gesture inaonyeshana how close he is to who? To God. But hiyo ni uongo. Hakuna kitu kama hiyo. He is very far. Even that music is making him to be even much far. Kwa sababu if he is going to remain there with that music itafanya mpaka apotee to eternity. Kwa sababu gani? He will never think any other way of worshiping God truly. Ataona ni kana kwamba amefanya nini? Amefika. Na ataona kwa sawa. That's why nimewaambia music watu wengi wanafikiria it is a good gesture to go to heaven. Lakini it is a big hindrance to many. So, as we have seen, God is a spirit. He must be worshipped in spirit and in truth for proper worship. And we are going to see, as I told you, God is a pure spirit. Pure spirit. God is a pure spirit. So, ukisoma 2 Corinthians 3:17. Haraka.
Sema. Basi Bwana ndiye roho, wala hakika alipo roho wa Bwana, hapo ndipo penye uhuru.
English?
Now the Lord is that spirit, and where the spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty.
God is that spirit. And where the spirit of God is, there is likely liberty. What type of liberty? What's liberty? Eric, kwa Kiswahili inasema nini? Uhuru. Uhuru gani? Uhuru gani? What is this liberty? God is a spirit, and where he is, hapo ndio kuna nini? Kuna uhuru. It is because where God dwells, he has removed all the bondage of the flesh. Mpaka your soul imekuwa nini? Imekuwa free. It is free. Unajua binadamu hajui we are under the bondage of sin, na tumeshikwa mateka na dhambi, and we serve our flesh, our lust ndio tuwaka tunaserve. Lakini where God, the spirit of God is, there is liberty in that wewe you cannot do what you don't want to do. You will always do in accordance with the will of who? With God. The will of God. And plus, you will do it with understanding, because God is understanding. And since the Spirit of God is in you, you also have what? Understanding. So pahali Mungu yuko, hapo ndio kuna liberty. Because wewe, you never do things without understanding. And that understanding you are given by the Spirit of God who dwells in you. Anyway, what is spirit? This is a point I want us to see. The word spirit. The word spirit is taken in various ways. The word spirit. If you are going to, you read Psalms 11 verse 6. Psalms 11 verse 6. You want to understand this word spirit. Ndio iwache kutuletea shida mingi sana. Niona inaleta shida mingi sana watu mpaka naona hawaelewi what is a spirit.
11:6 inasema awanyweshe wasio haki awanyeshe wasio haki mitego moto na kiberiti na upepo wa hari na viwe fungu la kikombe chao.
Hebu soma na Kiingereza.
Upon the wicked he shall rain snares, fire and brimstone, and a horrible tempest.
And a horrible tempest.
This shall be the portion of your camp.
Kwa hivyo, here, katika hiyo psalm, there shall be a horrible tempest. Hii ndio itakuwa nini?
Portion of your camp.
The portion of their camp. A tempest here is a wind. Si ni kweli? A tempest here is a wind. Nataka hiyo mshike. So it's a horrible tempest. Nataka usome Genesis 6:17.
Nasema na tazama nitaleta gharika ya maji juu ya nchi, niharibu kila kitu chenye mwili na pumzi ya uhai, kisiwepo chini ya mbingu, kila kilichoko duniani kitakufa.
English.
And behold, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth, to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life, from under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die.
So to destroy everything that has what? Breath
Of life.
breath of life. So what is this breath of life? It is a spirit of life. Si ni kweli? It is a spirit of life. So every creature ambaye inatembea, animal creature, has a breath of what? Has a breath of life. Has a breath of life. There is life in that creature. Which means there is a power ambaye inafanya this creature ifanya nini? And that power, that is the spirit. There is a spirit. There is a spirit. But tukisema there is a spirit in that creature, hapa sasa utakuja, kuna wengine wanasema this spirit is a spirit of God. But no, it's not the spirit of God, as you are going to see. It is a breath of life. Everything has got a breath of life. There is a spirit. There is life. There is life. There is a spirit. So, the word spirit hapa lazima tuielewe, kwa sababu sometimes language wanga inaleta shida, kwa sababu tukisema what is the word spirit, what does the word spirit itself, don't consider this word spirit, because God is a spirit. We always say that the word spirit always refers to who? To God. We should understand first what this word spirit is. Spirit is a thin substance, though it be material and complete, is called spirit. Anything that you cannot see, a thin substance. A thin substance hapa ni kumaanisha nini? Even if it is complete, it is a spirit. It's a spirit. Kama nini? Kama if you go to plants, that sap ambayo inatoka pale that you cannot understand vile inaenda ndio that plant inawili. That very thin substance ambayo Mungu ameweka pale the sap inaenda in a way inaitwa is a spirit. Is a spirit. Tunaelewana? Anything substance, whether complete ni kusema ni kitu ambayo labda unaweza guza na upate, lakini it is very thin, you cannot, it is yani the word, it can be named by the word spirit. Unaweza kusema that there is a spirit in that plant ambayo inafanya nini? Inatembea from there. So we must first understand the word spirit, because sometimes we jump over that spirit is who? Is God. We jump over. Sometimes in theology, some words, God borrows our words, zile tunatumia, so that we may understand some things ambaye haziwezi kueleweka. And in the bodies of living creatures, that which is the principle of their action is called spirits. Sawa? In the body of what? Living creatures. All of them, animals. Kuanzia the smallest. If it is a living creature, any principle ambaye ina activate that thing to work, ama kufanya kazi, is a spirit. Is a spirit. In spirit. It can be called a spirit. Manake inactivate that something too. That's why you have animal spirits. So, and the finer parts extracted from plants and minerals we call spirits. Those volatile parts separated from that gross matter wherein they were immersed, because they come nearest to the nature of an incomplete substance. Tunapatana? Hizo vitu vidogo sana ambaye siko even in plant, because sinakaribia kuwa something incomplete. Incomplete ni kusema they are very small, but they give, they are the one which activate any plant. They are called spirits. Tunaelewana? Kwa hivyo hapo kwanza tujue that all animals, anything that activates them, even plant, is a spirit, is spirits. They are called animal spirits. Ama plant spirits. Hiyo kwanza tushike hivyo ndio tuweze kuiona. So, angels are called what? Spirits. Are they God? No. Soma Psalms 104 verse 4. Psalms 104 verse 4.
Inasema huwafanya malaika zake kuwa pepo na watumishi wake kuwa moto wa miali.
Huwafanya malaika wake kuwa nini? Pepo. Kwa sababu kwa nini wanasema anawafanya kuwa pepo? Because these angels, whenever they are acting, you cannot see them. But through them, God is passing a power. So their spirit, there is a principle of life. Kwa hivyo ni pepo ambaye ndio ni malaika, lakini ni pepo, they have a spirit ambaye it is traversing from God through the angel to mankind. So ni pepo, lakini hii pepo is a spirit ambaye Mungu ameiweka, which has got a principle of life in it. That's why wanaitwa they are ministering spirits. But they are not God. Hiyo kwanza tushike. They are not God, but they are spirit. Ukisoma Hebrew 1:14 inasema namna gani?
Je, hao wote si roho watumikao wakitumwa kuwahudumu wale watakao urithi wokovu?
Yes. Those are the good angels. What about the bad angels? They are also spirit. Mark 1:27. Mark 1:27. Mark 1:27. Haraka.
Wakashangaa wote hata wakaulizana wakisema, nini hii? Ni elimu mpya, maana kwa uweza awaamuru hata pepo wachafu na wamtii.
Awaamuru hata nani?
Pepo
wachafu. So even the evil angels, they are still spirits. Si ni kweli? If we go to Ecclesiastes 12 verse 1, hebu soma.
12:1. Mkumbuke muumba wako siku za ujana wako, kabla hazijaja siku zilizo mbaya, wala haijakaribia miaka utakaposema, mimi sina furaha katika hiyo.
Ecclesiastes 12:7 Kiingereza?
Yeah.
Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto God who gave it.
So, you see now, the spirit shall stand unto God who gave it. So the spirit of man, or the soul of man, is called a spirit. So the spirit of man will do what? Will return to God. So you see now, the spirit of man, the soul of man is called a spirit. So it is not the spirit of God there. Sinikweli? It's the spirit of man. Those are the things that I want you to see. If you read John 19:30, John 19:30.
Nasema, basi Yesu alipokwisha kuipokea ile siki, alisema, imekwisha. Akainama kichwa, akasalimu roho yake.
Kwa hivyo, even Christ had a spirit. Hebu soma Kiingereza.
When Jesus therefore had received the funeral, he said, it is finished, and he bowed his head and gave up the ghost.
Yes, he gave up his spirit. So, what I want us to see is that the word spirit, it is used in a various way, not necessarily meaning God. Because even animals, we have seen even animal spirit, we have seen Christ also has a spirit. All these things, first, we must understand them so that we may understand the difference between this spirit and the spirit of who? The spirit of God. And God being a spirit. Because if we cannot do that, we shall be saying God, we shall be using the word spirit wholeheartedly as if it is everywhere. But no, we have a spirit of man, we have animal spirits, angels are spirits, have spirit. So all these things doesn't mean that they are teaching us that God is there. They are God. No. They are not God. They are creature. So, if you read Numbers 16:22.
Nasema, nao wakapomoka kifudifudi, wakasema, Ee Mungu, Mungu wa roho za wenye mwili wote, je, mtu mmoja atafanya dhambi, nawe ukashirikia mkutano wote?
So English.
And they fell upon their faces and said, O God, the God of the spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin, and wilt thou be wrought in all the congregations?
So is a God of
Is a God of the spirits.
Yeah, is a God of spirits of all flesh. Which means these other spirits, though they are called spirits, but they are different from who? From God. Because God is a God of spirits of all flesh. Meaning all flesh has God's spirit. And these spirits are not God. So, are created by who? By God. So the word spirit there is used, but this shows that though God is a spirit, but he is the father of all spirit. He has all the flesh, has spirit. And these spirit are created by God. Sasa. Ukisoma Isaiah 31 verse 3. Isaiah 31 verse 3.
Inasema, basi Wamisri ni wanadamu wala si Mungu, na farasi zao ni nyama wala si roho. Na Bwana atakaponyosha mkono wake, yeye asaidiaye atajikwaa, na yeye asaidiwaye ataanguka, nao wote pamoja watakoma.
Okay. In English?
Now the Egyptians are men and not God, and their horses fresh and not spirit. When the Lord shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is open shall fall down. And they all shall fail together.
Their horses are
Fresh,
not what?
not spirit.
Not spirit. Which means here God is showing us that a spirit is a principle, is another principle, and by here is a spirit. These horses are not, they don't have that spirit of God, or they don't have power like God himself. You see now here, he's differentiating these horses and the power of the spirit. Because the power of the spirit here is God is trying to say, when he uses the spirit, here he can use even angels. So these Egyptians, since they are carnal people, their horses are just flesh. And compared to God himself, God, if you are spiritual, like the children of Israel, they were the children of God. God as a spirit has another power, and he can conquer even these horses. They are not spirit. Hata kana kwamba ni nyingi namna gani, they have no power that is in God, because God is a spirit. He is more than this flesh. This flesh ambaye hawa Egyptian walikuwa wanalinga naye. So all these things nataka tuone, nataka tuipanue ndio tuweze kuielewa. Ukisoma Luke 24:39 inasema namna gani? Luke 24:39.
Nasema, tazameni mikono yangu na miguu yangu, ya kuwa ni mimi mwenyewe. Nishikenisheni muone, kwa kuwa roho haina mwili na mifupa kama mnavyoniona mimi kuwa nayo.
Kwa sababu walikuwa wanafikiria nani? Yesu Kristo ni nini? Is a spirit? Is a spirit. Because young people have got the notions, a spirit inaweza tokea kama nani? Kama binadamu. And in fact, walikuwa wanatokea in the Old Testament, angels walikuwa wanatokea hivyo. Wanakuja, he's an angel, lakini anakuja in the shape of who? The shape of man. His shape was just an apparition, sio kitu ambayo ilikuwa real. Ni angel anaformiwa kama binadamu. Wewe ukimuona una kama ni mtu. Meaning, huyu hata ukimshika hivi hawezi, because it's a spirit. It's a spirit. So Christ is telling them, nishikeni muone mimi sio nini. Nini niko na nini? Niko na mifupa. Niko na mifupa. You see now? So Christ himself anataka kusema namna gani? There are spirits ambaye they are called spirit that they exist in various, either evil angels or whatever. Spirit is taken for those things which are active and efficacious, because activity is of the nature of a spirit. Ukisoma, spirit is taken and to that efficacious attitude. Hiyo nini kufanya kitu, that spirit, that is a spirit ambaye unafanya naye. Hiyo action ambaye unaifanya, it is a spirit. For example, ebu soma Numbers 14:24.
Nasema, lakini mtumishi wangu Kale, kwa kuwa alikuwa na roho nyingine ndani yake, naye ameniandama kwa moyo wote, nitamleta yeye mpaka nchi hiyo aliyoingia, na uzao wake wataimiliki.
Unasikia? Mtumishi wangu nani?
Kale.
Kwa sababu alikuwa na nini?
Roho nyingine.
Alikuwa na roho nyingine. You see now, a spirit here is taken unto that principle which was in Karen. That is another spirit. So the word spirit hapa lazima muelewe, because Biblia itatumia hii mambo yote, utaikuta imetumiwa katika Biblia, na if you are not careful utakuja people they confuse the word spirit, because Caleb here is not, God is not talking a spirit. It is a spirit, it is that efficacious action ile iko ndani yake, a principle ile iko ndani yake, that is the spirit ambayo iko ndani ya nani? Ya Caleb. Sisi ambaye tuko hapa, some have got different spirit of doing something. Si ni kweli? Tuwezi fanya kitu sisi wote tufanye kitu in the same way. Kuna watu tunaweza kusema huyu mtu wako na roho juu and he has another spirit of doing something. That is also the word spirit inatumika. Sawa? The word spirit inatumika pale. Ukisoma Hosea 4:12. Hosea 4:12. Hosea 4:12.
Inasema, watu wangu hutaka shauri kwa gongo lao, na fimbo yao huwahubiri mambo, maana roho ya uzinzi imewakosesha, nao wamekwenda kuzini mbali na Mungu wao.
The spirit of what? Whoredoms. You see now, the word spirit there inafanya nini? Inatumika. The spirit of whoredom. Is that the spirit of God? No. It is the spirit of whoredom. It is whoredom, it is evil, but it's a spirit. So the word spirit hapa inatumika in a various form. Lazima tuelewe hivyo. Is a spirit of whoredom, but it is a spirit. Caleb had another spirit, and it is a spirit. Sasa haya, ukisoma Proverb 29:11. Proverb 29:11.
Mpumbavu hudhihirisha hasira yake yote, bali mwenye hekima huizuia na kuituliza.
Kiingereza?
A fool uttereth his might, all his might, but a wise man keepeth it in till afterwards.
A fool utters all his might. It's as if the word is saying a fool utters all his spirit. A fool utters all his spirit, which is in him. Kwa hivyo, ukitaka kuona mtu mjinga, yeye atakuwa anaongea ujinga tu. That is a spirit. Because he has a spirit of foolishness in him. So the word there, it is a spirit. Inatumika tena in that sense. Sasa? So, the notion of a spirit is that it is a fine immaterial substance, an active being that acts itself and other things. Sasa tuna define a spirit, not capital S, a spirit, small s, spirit. Hii kalamu ya Eric hii leo kuna kitu. Small s, spirit. Sasa, the notion of a spirit is that it is a fine, immaterial substance, an active being that acts itself and other things. It is immaterial, a fine, immaterial substance. That is the definition of the word spirit, that acts and moves other things. Anything about in a move, ama ina act other things. Kama vile nimesema the animal spirit, ama any material substance in plant, that one yote tunaweza kusema they are spirits. They are spirit. Even disposition of somebody, inclination, that efficacious inclination ambayo inakusukuma ufanye kitu fulani, we can also call it spirit. The spirit of Caleb is of a different, the spirit of the soul and soul. So a spirit here ni kumaanisha not anything ambayo tunasema is a spirit, inamaanisha nani? God. No. Tukisema hivyo tutakosea.
Mwalimu, kwa mfano niulize,
uliza.
Kama constitution, kama saa hiyo debate iko juu sana, watu katiba iwe ibadilishwe. Because katiba ndio inafanya to act in Kenya according to the law. Na ndio huwa inasema kulingana na kipengele hiki, kulingana na hivi, huwezi fanya hivi, unaweza fanya hivi. Can you say it is a spirit?
Yes. The law, the constitution, any constitution of a country, because that constitution make that country move, it make it to act. It is because of that constitution, which is the substance of that constitution is the spirit in that constitution. And that's why utakuja kuona most of the lawyers ama watu wengi katika our court of law, some people they don't even know how to interpret the spirit of the law. Because in every law there is a spirit, there is a spirit. Wengi wanasimama with the letter, lakini the spirit of the law hawajui. So why do we change constitution? Kwa nini wanga tunafika pale tunasema wacha tubadilishe constitution to this and that? There are those people who sees the spirit of that constitution, the benefit of that constitution, inafaa yani to benefit the whole country. Kuna wale Mungu anawasaidia wanaona, but kuna wale watu wanapiga just for the sake. They don't see the spirit of that law. They don't see it. Wanaangalia tu yani sheria imewekwa itakuwa hivi na hivi. They are very short sighted. But what should yani the learned people should do is to look things in their spiritual necessity. So a constitution, the best thing to look at constitution is the spirit of that constitution. Inatufundisha inataka nini. So a spirit here is that which make things to act. The law here, it has the spirit that will make them move. So that efficacious motion ambaye itafanya hiyo kitu iendelee, hiyo ndio tunasema is a spirit. It can be called a spirit. Sasa. So, a mere body cannot act itself, as the body of man cannot move without the soul. Sawa? So, no more than a ship can move itself without winds and waves. Si ni kweli? A ship ama an aeroplane ndio move. Kuna vitu tunaita radar. Hata ndege hapa nyuma kuna kitu inaendaga hivi. Hiyo ndio inafanyaga ndege iturn. It is a big things but inakuwa controlled by the wind. Sasa otherwise without the wind, without what we call it aerodynamics, zile ziko ambaye zimetengeneza. Unajua watu wanafikiriaga ndege ni kitu tu imetengenezwa without plan. Wanaona kitu kikubwa ambaye wanafikiria it is just like that. Ndege iko na kitu tunaita aerodynamic design ambaye inatumia a principle called Venturi principle, ambaye hiyo Venturi principle ndio yani imetengenezwa vile inaweza ku attract the wind mpaka hizi wings zake zina form what we call lift, alafu ndege ina float. Kwa hivyo the wind here is a spirit. It is the one which make it move. Sawa? So God is called a spirit as being not a body, not having the greatness, figure, thickness or length of a body, wholly separate from anything of flesh and matter. Kwa hivyo kwa nini Mungu anaitwa yani spirit? God is called a spirit as being not a body. As being not a body, not having the greatness, figure, thickness or length of a body, wholly separate from anything of flesh and matter. Holy. 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 Separate from anything of flesh and matter. Unaona hapo? Sasa tumeingia kwa Mungu sasa. Tumeangalia all other spirits na tumeziona. Sasa tunataka tuingie kwa Mungu mwenyewe sasa. God is a spirit. Yeah, is a spirit. Not having any body, a body. He is not, hakuna kitu ambaye Mungu tunaweza kusema yeye ako na mwili fulani ama ako hivi ama ako vile ama amekaa vile. Is a spirit. Kama vile tumeona sasa hapa, msisahau tunatumia the word spirit kulingana na vile sasa tumeitumia katika nini? All the creatures kwanza. Tukaona it is a principle by ina move nini? So when we come to God now here, God is a spirit. Nae, he doesn't have a body ama anything. And again, he is not attached to anything. Kwa hiyo tushike. He is not attached to anything. Fleshly, a creature, he is a spirit by his own. Why? Mungu akiumba vitu kulikuwa na nini? Kulikuwa na kitu. Where was he? Where was he? He was in himself. So we cannot say that God is everywhere or he is in creatures because he cannot survive without what? Without creature, without them. Because before they were, he was.
Mwalimu, nitaka kusema hivi. Kama tumeona kuna spirit, wasema ni hiyo the principle of something ndio react. Alafu tukasema hapa kuna tuseme matter. Tuseme kama kuna mtu. Ama tutumie ndege, sasa ndio ndege tunajua. Tukasema ndege ni kitu, hiyo ni matter. Ndio ipande inahitaji the air or the wind. Hiyo wind ndio the spirit. Kwa hivyo nayo spirit tunaona ya man na all other beings, na tuseme spirit ya kwa creature nao. Pia nayo spirit ndio nayo haiwezi act on its own. Inahitaji the flesh or the matter. Ndio nao sasa iact. Sasa naye sasa tuseme sasa Mungu does not need the flesh or the matter to act.
Yeah, that is it.
He is independent.
He is independent.
Lakini other flesh other spirit ya man na other things is dependent.
Yes.
They cannot act on them ourselves.
Exactly. They are dependent, but God is independent. Na ndio nasema I am whom I am. Sijui kama hapo tumeona kwanza, ndio tuendelee. The difference between God being a spirit and other things also having called spirit and God being a spirit. That God is a spirit, that he does not exist in any other matter or flesh. He can exist on his own because he doesn't depend on his survival on anything. So when he was creating, he created things that they were not there. And yet he was living. So, we find a principle within us nobler than that of our bodies. And therefore, we conceive the nature of God according to that which is more worthy in us, and not according to that which is the vitals part of our nature. We find a principle within us nobler than of our bodies, nobler than that of our bodies. And therefore, we conceive the nature of God according to that which is more worthy in us, and not according to that which is the finest part of our nature. What does that mean? Inamaanisha hivi. Binadamu akiwa amekaa, ukiwa unafikiria hivi kama binadamu, when you think, there is a principle ambaye iko ndani yako, ambaye inafikiria mambo mazuri, anything unafikiria mambo mazuri. Na ukitaka kujua binadamu, hata wakati ana imagine God vile Mungu vile yako, yeye wanga anaangalia mbinguni, anaona pahali kuna viti vizuri zimetengenezwa, kuna chakula mzuri, si ndio? Watu wamekaa wanakula matunda yale mazuri. So those are the imagination of who? Of man. Kwa hivyo man by nature, the spirit of man which is in him always think of something nobler than what he himself understand. Na ndio unaona in pursuit of happiness, binadamu ndio unaona anawanga anajaribu sasa yote kutengeneza that which can make him happy. Ni kweli? Wanga anajaribu kabisa kutengeneza, lakini yeye wakati anatengeneza, yeye wanga anafikiria kitu kizuri ambaye kinaweza kumake him comfortable. So he is always thinking about God. And since he cannot find out God, always yeye wanga ana stop. Pahali amesikia comfortable inafanya nini? Imeingia. Ni kweli? Lakini kuna kitu wanga inasukuma mtu by nature. Akitaka kuwa kutekeleza, yaani kufikia something which is noble, ambaye ni nani? Ni Mungu. And there's no one point binadamu wanga anataka kutekeleza kitu ambaye it is below. Na kama ni kitu ambaye sio mzuri, wanga hata anasikia aibu wakati anaitekeleza. Si ni kweli? Why? Because God, there is that spirit of God in him ambaye is nobler, ambaye it is higher than our nature, ambaye always wanga tunafikiria kuifikia. And because we don't understand God, we tend to turn out to please the body. And that's why the children of God, wale watoto wa Mungu, ndio wanapatiwa that faculty of understanding the true nature of God. Sasa badala ya kufuata the worldly comfort, wanafuata nini? Wanaanza kupursue that true satisfaction which is in our Lord Jesus Christ, which is of God through our Lord Jesus Christ. Hivyo ndio naona mtu akishajua ukweli anaanza kupursue, anasikia this, he want to know more, because sasa hapo anakaribia nani? Anakaribia Mungu. So God is a most spiritual spirit. Sasa hapo ndio God is a spirit, yes. Tumeona. Na tumeona we have many spirits. Si ni kweli? So who is God? God is a most spiritual spirit. Sasa he is a most spiritual spirit. Though we have spirits, lakini Mungu ni nani? He is the most spiritual. Hata kana kwamba tuko na spirits ambayo tumeona binadamu wako naye, we have angels, we have spirits, but God himself is the most spiritual kuliko zote, though we have many other spirits. Sasa, so as he exceeds all in the nature of being, so he exceeds all in the nature of spirit. Unaona hapo? Yeah, he exceeds all in the nature of being. Mungu hakuna uwezo kumlinganisha na nini? Na anything. Si kweli? Kwa hivyo even when we come to the spirit, he exceeds all spirits. He exceeds all spirits. He is the most superior spirit. Kwa hivyo sasa hapa nataka muone the word spirit vile inatumika. Sijui kama tunashikana. Let us not be localized on this word spirit. Tuangalie this word kama wasomi ambaye tunataka kujua ukweli. Because if you are not going to do that, things yani kuna mambo mengine hatutayaona vile yako. So God is a spirit, but is the most spiritual spirit. We have so many other spirits below God, but is the most spiritual spirit. So he is not a spirit, so as our souls are. Sawa. To be the form of any body. A spirit, not as angels and souls are, but infinitely higher. Infinitely higher. Yeah, he is not a spirit kama vile our soul are in our body. He is not a spirit kama vile malaika wako. but he is infinitely higher. But he is a spirit. A spirit. He's a spirit. He is infinitely higher, but he's a spirit. We call him so because in regard of our weakness, we have not any other term of excellency to express or conceive of him by. We call him a spirit. We use that word. Hakuna jina lingine tunaweza kumuita because hakuna jina lingine, so we lack words. Sisi kama tunaelewana. We lack word. Our weakness, hakuna jina lingine tunaweza kusema because we lack word vile tunaweza kuita Mungu. It is true. We lack words. Some things spiritual, we lack words. So tunajaribu kuweka jina ambaye at least italeta karibu sana Mungu wako namna gani. So yet we must apprehend God above any spirit, since his nature is so great that he cannot be declared by human speech, perceived by human sense, or conceived by human understanding. So we understand him above any spirit. Kwa sababu gani? A spirit ni kitu ambaye huwezi ona na macho yako. So that's why we say, yani, we give him that he is superior of all the spirit. Any principle that we see acting in any animal, that principle is a spirit. But God, we give him the name of a spirit because hakuna jingine tunaweza kulinganisha yeye na naye. Sometimes words waka zinakosa. Sawa. There are questions wanga zinaulizwa. If God be a spirit, and it is impossible he can be otherwise than a spirit, how comes God so often to have such members as we have in our bodies ascribed to him? Not only as soul, but practically bodily parts, as heart, arms, hearts, eyes, ears, face, and backups. And how is it that he is never called a spirit in plain words? Unajua hapo nini watu wengine wanauliza kama Mungu is a spirit, mbona some part anatumika in the biblical word, wanatumia jina Mungu ako na masikio, Mungu ako na macho. So kwa nini wanga basi if it's a spirit, mbona watu wanasema ako na masikio? For example, ukisoma Psalms 11:4, hebu soma. Psalms 11:4.
Bwana yuko katika hekalu lake takatifu. Bwana ambaye kiti chake kiko mbinguni. Macho yake yanaangalia, kope zake zinawajaribu wanadamu.
Macho yake inafanya nini? Inaangalia. Sasa is a spirit lakini akona nini? Na macho. Hebu soma Daniel 7:9. Daniel 7:9. Daniel 7:9.
Nikatazama hata viti vya enzi vikawekwa, na mmoja aliye mzee wa siku ameketi. Mavazi yake yalikuwa meupe kama theluji, na nywele za kichwa chake kama sufu safi. Kiti chake cha enzi kilikuwa miali ya moto, na gurudumu zake moto uwakao.
You see now, God there, he has given everything as if he's a man. He's a man. And yet God is a spirit. Why the word of God uses such things? It is because it is God condescending to our weakness. Ni Mungu anajaribu kutuleta, yani kujileta karibu ndio tufanye nini? Tumuelewe. Tujue yeye aliyeumba macho hata kana kwamba hana mwili kama ule tuko naye na macho tunaona, anafanya nini? Anaona. Yeye ambaye aliumba masikio hata kana kwamba hana masikio, is a spirit, anafanya nini? Anasikia. Because binadamu anaweza fika pahali anasema sasa Mungu huyu anasema tena tunaambiwa yeye hana masikio. Mbona tena hapo na masikio? Mbona tunasikia tena hapo na macho? It is because Mungu ujaribu kutukaribia sana using our own language ndio tuweze kumjua. Anatukaribia na mambo ambayo tunaweza kusikia. Sawa? So, as our souls are linked with our body, so our knowledge is linked with our sense.
Is that?
Yeah? As our souls are linked with our body, so our knowledge is linked with our sense. Sense happen kusema na our knowledge is linked with our sense. So because binadamu lazima a sense kitu. Kwa hivyo Mungu anajaribu kuleta language ambaye itafanya we sense about God. Tuelewana? That's why anatumia lugha kama hayo, ndio tukisikia masikio tunaanza kujua kabisa Mungu naye anasikia. Tunaanza kuona sense, unaelewa Mungu anaona, Mungu anasikia. Anaona, unaanza kuona macho yako bila anaona. Kwa hivyo unaelewa. Sasa ndio uone kabisa we are not guided by a God who don't understand or who doesn't see. Ndio wakati unafanya kitu wewe ukiwa binadamu, ujue Mungu ako na nini? Na wakati unaongea kitu kibaya, Mungu ako na nini? Na masikio. Hata kana kwamba haumuoni, ako na masikio na anafanya nini? Anasikia. Hivyo ndio Mungu utaka tujue. Because watu wengi uogopa binadamu, lakini sio nani? Kuna watu wanaogopa hata watoto wadogo kuliko nani? Kuliko Mungu. Hao unaweza kukuta mtu hawezi ongea mambo mabaya mtoto wake akiwa pale. Anasema sasa unaweza kuongea hivyo mtoto akiwa hapa. Lakini mtoto akiwa hapa aliko pale. Si anaongea hivyo, ni kumaanisha nini? Anaogopa nani? Kuliko nani? Kuliko Mungu. So, hiyo ndio binadamu anakuwa. And that's why tunaambiwa most of the people are practical atheists. Ni kukataa wanakataa. Hata wenye wanasema Yesu ni Bwana, they are atheists. Hawampendi Mungu, hata hawamjui Mungu. Kwa sababu kama ungejua Mungu kabisa, mambo mengine watu wako wanafanya na wanasema ni Wakristo hawezi fanya. Wanaogopa binadamu lakini hawaogopi Mungu. Mwizi wakati anaiba, hata akiwa anatumia ujanja gani asijulikane, uwanga anajificha nani? Watu. Lakini Mungu, you see now. So man by nature, he doesn't fear God. He doesn't fear God. Ndio unasikia Mungu anasema those who fear me. Wale ambao wanafanya nini? Wananiogopa. Because binadamu kawaida haogopi Mungu. By nature binadamu anaweza fanya vituko mingi sana, lakini hizo vituko kienda mbele ya mtu mwingine hawezi fanya. Anajificha mtu lakini sio nani? Sio Mungu. So a true child of God ni yule amejua the spirituality of God. So to worship God in spirit and in truth is when you know the spirit of God and the truth behind God. That is the true worship. Lakini unaweza kusema ati wewe unaabudu Mungu, lakini ukija mambo mengine unafanya unajificha binadamu, lakini hakuna wakati unaogopa nani? Unaogopa Mungu. Hiyo ni makosa. So